We'll go ahead and call the 3051st regular village board meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. on April 22nd, 2013. Clerk, please call the roll.
Lenz.
Here.
Meyer. Metchneg.
Here.
Semple.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Voss. Here. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have minutes from the village board meeting of April 8th, 2013. Exhibit 1, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Motion by trustee Voss, second by trustee Nutschnag. Any discussion on the minutes? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss. Yes. Sullivan. Lenz.
Yes.
Metchneg.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this point in the meeting, we would open the floor to public comments. If anyone has a public comment, now would be the time to make it and let me know by raising your hand if you'd like to speak, and we'll call you up one at a time. Okay, I don't see any hands, so we'll close the floor. We have a number of presentations and awards this evening. The first is a presentation by Representative Carol Sente and Representative Ed Sullivan regarding House Resolution 255.
Hello, everyone. So I have a couple of things I wanted to say, and I know you have a full house this evening, but it's seems like it's a very exciting time of change in Mundelein. So I wanted to come and say thanks to Trustee Jim Nutschnag because he served his community for the past 22 years, and Esme Dahlstrom, who served as the clerk for 8 years. I have a certificate for each of you. For those who might not know, Esme served and oversaw the modernization and transition of the Village Hall and was part of getting rid of the vehicle and dog stickers. And Jim is recognized because he has been for the last 8 years the mayor pro tem and one of the most long-standing serving trustees. So, wanted to.
Very good. Do they believe that the village stickers are actually gone now? Or people for years came
Every
in
once in a while we get one
saying, "Are you
too."
sure I don't need one?"
They also worked together on the beginnings of the new LEED certified Village Hall that just broke ground and the downtown redevelopment. And I did also want to briefly congratulate the mayor-elect, Steve Lenz, who served for trustee for the past 4 years, and wish you the best of luck. And so with the last board meeting that you have, Mayor Kessler, Ed Sullivan was not able to join me today. He had an unexpected, had to be at home and take care of the kids, but this is from both of us. It is a House Resolution 225, and I'd like to read it on behalf of your last board meeting. So, the House Resolution 255, whereas the members of the Illinois House of Representatives are pleased to congratulate Kenneth H. Kessler, Mayor of the Village of Mundelein, as he retires from his position as mayor. And whereas Mayor Kessler has given 12 years of service to Mundelein, he served as trustee from 1999 to 2003 and mayor from 2005 to 2013. And whereas Mayor Kessler has numerous accomplishments to reflect on during his time in office. His administration eliminated the vehicle village stickers and dog tags, made board meetings available on cable TV and the internet, began to accept credit card payments for city services, quieted the automated train horns and established a real railway quiet zone, began the downtown redevelopment project, maintained an increase in funding for residential street repairs, weathered the economic recession with minimal impact to services and property tax bills, and organized the electrical aggregate program, helping residents save significantly on their electricity cost. His administration converted the village to a single waste hauler agreement, increased recycling, reestablished the Human Relations Commission, began several community initiatives, including the Craft Beer Festival, the Farmers Market, and the Annual Art Festival, and adopted a new zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan, and attracted or retained residential and commercial developments. There's a section in the middle in the effort of saving a little bit of time. There are numerous awards that the village had received during your tenure that I'm not going to list all, and drop down a paragraph and say, start up again, whereas Mayor Kessler's direction for the village of Mundelein will not end with his departure. He oversaw the hiring of a new village manager, fire chief, police chief, director of public works, and finance director, and the start of a downtown redevelopment project. So truly a time of change. Whereas Mayor Kessler has worked for Rosalind Franklin University of Medicine and Science since 2007, he is an associate professor of psychology and has lived in Mundelein since 1994. He and his wife Elizabeth have 2 sons, Christopher and Andrew. He is a U.S. Coast Guard licensed merchant marine master and has a PhD in clinical psychology from Finch University of Health Sciences / the Chicago Medical School. Therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 90th General Assembly of the State of Illinois that we congratulate the Village of Mundelein Mayor Ken Kessler as he retires from his position. Thank him for his service for his community and wish him all the best with his future endeavors, and be it further resolved that a suitable copy of this resolution be presented to Mayor Ken Kessler as an expression of our esteem and respect.
Well, thank you very much for that, and it's quite an honor. And I'm glad that as you drafted that, you wrote that it was my administration rather than me personally, because it truly was a group and team effort of the elected officials here, a very talented group of staff, and the support of my wife, Elizabeth, or Liz, as I call her, and Chris and Andy, my boys, who have stood by and helped me in different ways, including stuffing mailers on the kitchen table back 8 years ago. My one aunt, Frida, who has been a big supporter of me, is not able to be here because she has some health problems, but my other aunt, my Aunt Fran, is here, and the two of them have been very supportive and like mothers to me. So I think we've done a lot in 8 years, and Trustee Lentz, as the new mayor, will, I'm sure, have a productive next 4 years of his term, and a number of ideas, and we're pleased that the village will continue to move forward. So I'm very happy with that, and congratulations to you as well. So I guess it's kind of weird to ask for a motion to adopt a resolution honoring yourself, but that's the next item on the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Semple.
Second.
As part of the duties of Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to read a resolution honoring you. Whereas Kenneth Kessler was elected mayor of Mundelein in 2005 and he re-elected in 2009, serving with distinction as the mayor of Mundelein for 8 years. And whereas shortly after he was elected, Mr. Kessler led the village of Mundelein's Hurricane Katrina relief effort that enabled the community to collect a package to ship over 1,000 personal hygiene kits and hundreds of pounds of needed supplies to victims of one of the most deadly hurricanes to strike the United States in the entire history of the United States. Whereas Mr. Kessler has represented the village on the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency since he was elected. And whereas during his tenure, Mayor Kessler has maintained a strategic vision that has changed operations of the village government, including rescinding village stickers, dog tags, and approving the village hall subdivision, and entering into a public-private partnership with Weston Solutions to enhance economic development in the downtown, broadcasting village board meetings on cable TV and on the internet, converting to a single waste hauler for single-family and multi-family solid waste collection, increasing recycling options for the village residents, reinvigorating downtown in the event of programming through the strong support from Mundelein Community Connection, adopting a new comprehensive plan and municipal zoning ordinance, approving credit card payments for water bills, and maintaining a strong financial base during difficult and economic times. Also, whereas under the leadership as Mayor, the Village of Mundelein received numerous regional, state, and international awards and recognitions, including the Illinois Governor's Hometown First Place Award 2007, the Governor's Cup winner in 2008, for the Mundelein After School Coalition, and also Illinois Governor's Cup finalist in 2009. International Chiefs of Police Community Policing Award in 2010 for enhancing police response to victims in Lake County Municipal League Cutting Edge. The award was for 2011. And in 2012, and both for both 2011 and 2012, and recognition by the Government Accounting and Finance Authority for excellence in financial reporting from 2005 through 2012, which serves as a lasting testament for his steady leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Mundelein, Lake County, Illinois, that the Village of Mundelein hereby extends its deep appreciation and grateful recognition to Kenneth Kessler for his dedication and commitment to the people of the Village of Mundelein through his service as mayor, adopted this 22nd day, April 2013. And we need a roll.
Okay. Semple?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Lentz?
Yes.
Nutchnike?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Thank you. It's quite a compliment, and appreciate the support of my colleagues on that. Truly, again, none of those things happen without the team in this room and all the department heads and staff, every staff member of the village. In fact, one of the things you get to do as mayor is talk to a lot of Boy Scout groups and kids, and one of the things people say is, or even adults say, well, what's it like to run a village? I say, I don't know, because I really don't. Mr. Lebedo has done a handy job at that, and I explained that, the mayor's job is to lead the board meetings, work with the board to set the vision, sometimes help the administrator make difficult decisions, but really the day-to-day heavy lifting in town is done by people who work with Mr. Lebedo as staff members, and without them we wouldn't be doing any of those things that are on either of these papers. We really have a talented group of employees who work here for this village, and they'll still remain, and that's a very good thing. So I appreciate it. We have prepared a couple of little plaques as well. One is for the village clerk Dahlstrom, which we call the Distinguished Service Award. Says the Distinguished Service Award presented to Esme M. Dahlstrom for your years of distinguished and dedicated service as Mundelein Village Clerk, 2005 to 2013. Village Clerk is it's a very interesting position. It requires a great amount of responsibility and a very steep learning curve to figure out everything that you're supposed to be doing. Obviously, the staff and Mr. Flynn as our deputy clerk is helpful with that, but the clerk's office is responsible for not only the official record keeping of the board meetings, but the minutes and things like that, but also the official records of the village. And there's quite a few deadlines and responsibilities you have to hit with the county and the state. And unless you hit those, bad things happen. People start calling and certified letters start coming and those kinds of things, and investigators visit your office. So Esme's done a great job of keeping all of those people out of the village and back in their offices to worry about other people. So we appreciate the service you've given, and thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Yes. Wow, if I would have known that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank a few people, the village board and the village staff, for really making my tenure a great experience. From my neighbor Carmen, who got me into this position, saying, oh, it's just a couple of meetings a month. I began this position without any knowledge of what a village clerk does. So I owe a great deal of thanks. And we can't say it enough to our village staff, but to the mayor for running the meetings very smoothly. I appreciate your words of wisdom as well as your humor. Deputy Clerk Flynn for being my backup and sharing your knowledge with me. For John for answering all of my questions, and I had a lot of questions. I appreciate that. Charlie for keeping us all legal. Very appreciate that. It's always a good thing. And to all of the trustees, every single one of you for your words of encouragement and your supports. I'd also like to thank the department heads, fire chief, police chief as well, and especially the unsung heroes of the village, I believe, are the administrative assistants. Marie Checky, who's in the audience today, Wendy Whitaker, who is my right-hand man, and Tammy Schaffernick as well. I'd like to thank my family for allowing me the opportunity, encouraging me, and supporting me throughout the years. Thank you. Lastly, I would like to thank the community, because without you getting out there and voting, none of us would be here. And you play a very important role. I hope that I have served you as well as you have served me. I want to wish the best of luck to the new mayor, Mayor Lentz, the new trustees, and most of all, our new village clerk, Clerk Timmerman. Thank you very much.
We also have a Distinguished Service Award prepared for Trustee James Nutschnig. And this one reads, an appreciation of 22 years of dedicated service to the Village of Mundelein Board of Trustees, 1991 to 2013. Your thoughtful leadership has helped to make the Village of Mundelein a better place. So I think we looked it up in the historical books. The only person who has, that we could figure out, had more years of service, did not have them consecutively. So you have 22 years of consecutive service. Jim has seen a lot of change in Mundelein over the years, and 22 years is a long time. There's a cool feature on Lake County GIS website where you could regress to old pictures of the village and bring yourself forward. And you could see things that just come along, and things that housing developments, commercial developments. And I think when you sit here and you're just doing it all the time as you go along, you forget about some of those things. But a lot of us in this room are living in housing developments that you've probably seen approved. We're shopping in stores that you've seen approved over the time that you've been here. And Jim also served as Mayor Pro Tem in the last 8 years, which thankfully I didn't die, so you didn't have to take over as full mayor. But when in the times that I wasn't able to make a meeting, Jim did an effective job of leading the meetings and taking care of things, sometimes on short notice, and also and serving in this chair as well from time to time. So I appreciate your service there too.
Very nice. We really appreciate this. Yeah, back when I started, nothing was developed west of 45. But no, just kidding around. A lot of things, right, have changed in this town since I was first elected. I think one of the first things I was part of, was bringing water to Mundelein, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of the first things we did. And ever since there, I was building our public safety departments, both fire departments, and we moved out of our 3-bedroom ranch home police department on the hill there on the corner of Division there, on right by Division, right just on the corner where the old police or the new police station is now. And I've seen a lot of new faces come and go. Every department head, I think the only ones that are maybe still here are, well, Charlie Marino is still our village attorney, and of course Mike Flynn has been here as long, if not longer than I have. But really, getting down to really what it's all about, it's plain and simple. Good department heads provide a real easy transition for us as trustees as well as mayor. They've got their support in each of their departments, thank goodness, because without that, then they wouldn't be as successful as they are, which means they know how to pick the right people that back them, which makes their job maybe a little easier, but they've got to orchestrate everything that goes on. But thanks to the leadership in all our departments, makes our job as trustees, like I mentioned, a much easier, much more relaxing, less tense job. And you know the decisions are made right when you evaluate these gentlemen every few years and you see what they're doing and seeing what they're going through. And in our building department, the same thing. Everybody has been very helpful, and engineering department, the same thing. So I have no regrets after 22 years. I think 22 years is probably way more than enough time to do what you want to do. There's just one last thing I would have liked to have seen was get the village hall totally built, but not everything, can be done possibly. But at least we got the groundbreaking done, so at least that was done. But thanks to all of my friends and on the village board who have also supported all our decisions, Ray and Steve and all the ones in the past, way back to where, Jerry Howland, and who else was back there? Mayor Sindels was there for quite a few years. And a number of, and also Mayor Kessler was a trustee with me, sat right to the right of me, or left of me, for many years in the old section back in downtown Mundelein. But again, hey, with no regrets, I really appreciate, a lot was done. I really want to thank the people in Mundelein for keeping me in office for as long as that is. And I won't go away totally. I'll be always involved in doing something, so, But thanks again very much for all your support and all your backing. And Mundelein will certainly move forward as well as it has in the past. I am more than sure of that. Okay. Thanks again. Thank you very much.
Finally, I'd like to congratulate Trustee Semple on his reelection. So he'll serve us for another 4 years. We have no public hearings scheduled. I have a number of proclamations this evening. The first is to congratulate Carmel Catholic High School boys hockey team for their 2013 state championship. We've prepared a resolution, which I will read, and we have a copy for each of the members of the team, and one to be framed and put up wherever you like to put these. Mayoral proclamation recognizing the 2013 state champion Carmel Catholic High School boys hockey team. Whereas the 2013 Carmel Catholic High School boys hockey team won the 2013 Amateur Hockey Association of Illinois State Hockey Championship on March 21st, 2013, with a 3-2 win over New Trier High School at the Edge Ice Arena in Bensenville, Illinois. And whereas the 2013 Hockey Championship continued Carmel Catholic High School's tradition of excellence, and whereas the Mayor and Village Board of the Village of Mundelein are proud of the Carmel boys hockey team members for representing themselves, their school, and their community with honor, integrity, and a competitive fighting spirit throughout the season. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Mundelein, Illinois, that the following Carmel Corsairs hockey players be recognized. These are seniors: Joseph Brada, Michael Coutreau, Assistant Captain Nicholas Coutreau, Ian Davies, Lucien de Lac Louise. Close enough? Joseph DiBartolo, Captain Nicholas Harma, Joseph Kennar, Jared Moore, Matt, help me, Matt, Meroic, Samson Namakta, Ian O'Connor, Assistant Captain Joseph Pirelli, David Salvi, Zachary Shendovsky, close enough, Grant Stredler, John Vanderlack III, Michael Vogel, and Captain Michael Wyasek, Head Coach Michael Rukinski, Assistant Coach Benedict Von Locke, Team Manager Tim O'Connor, President Robert Wyasek, be recognized for their outstanding achievements and individuals as a team, proclaimed, signed, and sealed this 22nd day of April 2013 in the Village of Mundelein, Lake County, Illinois. So we've got this framed proclamation. We've got one for each team member, and then we have the So what'll happen is there's a whole procedure because most of the roads are state routes. This one is for the school, but the state routes will feature this sign on the entrances to Mundelein. It'll take a little while to get that put up, but I'll come out and we'll see who wants to take this. You want to do a team picture?
Oh, the entire team. Maybe they are all teams, so. I know, it was close. I practiced.
Right now? He'll tell you when.
I'd like to draw your attention to a few additional proclamations and other things that we're not actually going to read. One is proclaiming April 22nd, 2013 Arbor Day celebration, May 2013 Crossing Guard Appreciation Day, National Police Week of May 12th through 18th, May 5th through 11th, National Arson Awareness Week, May 2013 Building Safety Month, and one that celebrates Lynn Strutzel's retirement from Carmel Catholic High School. Do we have an in-person presentation for that? Okay. Finally, one for PADS of Lake County and the PADS Sleep Out for Shelter 2013. And we have a proclamation for that. Is Sari Rubin in the audience? Okay. Sari, okay. Sari, I'll go ahead and, I've been butchering names all night, so why stop now? Sari, if you wouldn't mind coming forward, I'll read this proclamation. This is a mayoral proclamation supporting PADS, which is providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter, Lake County, and the PADS Sleep Out for Shelter 2013. It reads, whereas PADS Lake County is a nonprofit organization, it provides emergency shelter for the homeless, as well as a variety of other services, including permanent housing to families and individuals, an overnight shelter at its 42-bed family center, veterans programs, street outreach, a safe haven for mentally ill individuals, and PADS Assessment Center. And whereas by providing advocacy, dignity, and shelter, PADS demonstrates on a daily basis that it is committed to helping people facing housing and other challenges achieve the best care possible. And whereas the PADS Sleep Out for Shelter fundraiser will take place at Carmel Catholic High School in Mundelein on May 11th. And whereas the Village of Mundelein Board supports the work of PADS and the Sleep Out for Shelter fundraiser, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Mundelein, Illinois, that the residents of Lake County be encouraged to support PADS Lake County in any way that they can, including participation in the Sleep Out for Shelter May 11th, 2013 at Carmel Catholic High School. So we'll give you, can I have the pen? We'll give you this proclamation, which is signed right now by me and the clerk. So please come on up. Congratulations. Would you like to take a couple of minutes just to tell folks in the audience, Sari, would you like to take a couple of minutes to tell people in the audience what you do and what the fundraiser on the 11th is about?
Absolutely. I'm Sari Rubin. I'm the Director of Development at PADS Lake County. As the mayor said, we are the only emergency shelter system for the homeless in Lake County. Last year we served over 1,800 individuals, including 253 families and 503 children. We've already surpassed 503 children this year, and we are poised to exceed 2,000 people. There are 50,000 people living in poverty in Lake County, and our Sleep Out for Shelter at Carmel Catholic High School, congratulations guys, I hope to see you all on May 11th, is a new way for PADS to reach out into the community in many different ways, from small businesses, community organizations, schools, individuals, families, teams. So please visit our website, sleepoutlakcounty.org. Sign up, donate, participate, and I'll look forward to seeing you. I'll be the one running around for 24 hours on May 11th. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mayor.
two chiefs, Chief Gunther and Chief Sashko, have a short presentation.
This is a continuation of honor and praise for Jim and Esme. We had to let you come down a little bit, and I'll raise you back up a couple notches. So I said, the mayor usually has a good joke. I thought Jimmy was going to take you back to driving old number 1 back in the 20s, but he didn't go that far. So anyway, just real brief on behalf of both of us, I think we want to provide a couple words on, what you guys have done for the village and for our 2 departments in public safety. And the fact that, your leadership really was something that looked into the future and said, hey, it's not where we are, but where we need to go. And especially Jim with 22 years of service and Esme with 8. That's a long time to create volunteerism and a commitment to the community. And, for all of us in this room, I know we truly appreciate that. You had a lot of core values that you instilled in us as far as what you wanted to see and what we needed to do to carry out the mission of the village. And in the simplest of terms, volunteering is making the difference in somebody's lives and for the entire community. And as residents, we know how much impact that's had. So on behalf of both of us, mine are over there, I'm going to present that to you as our little mini helmet award that we do. And I know Chief Gunther has something for you to give to you. So thank you very much on behalf of both of our organizations, and we wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think we might be pretty well finished with presentations at this time. We have some more reports and other slightly less exciting things. Anyone in the audience is certainly welcome to stay for the whole thing. I know we have some folks that may want to do some other things with their families, given the high school and whatnot. So if you'd like to take now as a good spot to leave, you're welcome to do so, or stay for the whole thing if you want. So as we know, we've been going through a few different collective bargaining negotiations. We have brought one of them, a couple of them to a close recently. This one on the agenda of this evening is for the Village of Mundelein Fire Lieutenants organization. So here I'll be asking for a motion to authorize me to sign the collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Mundelein and the Mundelein Fire Lieutenants. Is there a motion in that regard? Motion by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Nutschneg, any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Nutschneg?
Yes.
Lentz?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Public Works Committee is normally done by Trustee Meyer. Trustee Nutschneg, could you give that report, please?
All right. As of right now, I'm not aware of any report that we've got to give tonight, unless there's something that we might want to add. No? What about the rain?
We're right now still trying to pull together all of our data. At this point, we feel that we've got about 73 requests for service, all of which were addressed or handled. That does not count the multiple requests on the same issue. For example, Woodhaven Detention Pond. If we received multiple calls, which we did about that particular issue, we just counted that as one request for service. So we've got about 4.17 inches of rain over a less than 36-hour time frame. But fortunately, it was a 36-hour time frame, so we were able to see flood stages crest at the third highest height on the Des Plaines River in the history of the record. But because of the extended period of time, we didn't see it back up into the same areas that we previously did with similar crests. So we weathered the storm pretty well overall.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much, and I think that's all we have.
Okay, thank you. Finance Committee, Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a number of motions this evening. The first is a motion to approve the Finance Committee meeting minutes of April 8th, 2013. I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan makes the motion. It will be Finance Committee members only, so who would second that?
Second?
Second by Mr. Lentz. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Lenz.
Yes.
Meyer is absent. Motion carries.
Motion is a motion to adopt the fiscal year ending 2014 annual budget. This budget is $57,231,127. And I have a question. In the exhibit, it says we are adopting the budget and the 5-year capital improvement plan. That's the capital improvement plan is not part of this motion.
Yeah, they were, the 5-year plan was incorporated into the board's discussion on the overall project,
As
so.
always.
Yeah, I think in years past, we haven't formally adopted the 5-year plan, but the 5-year plan's always been out there. And just remind the board, the first 3 years of that 5-year plan is fully funded. But as you know, it also changes as we move forward. So what we plan to do next year will be evaluated and probably adjusted as we do every year.
Well, there are some inclusions in the 5-year CIP or capital improvement plan that I'm hesitant to approve.
Well,
I
the only thing I would add to that, Trustee Sullivan, is you're really just approving this 1 year of the 5-year plan.
Okay.
And so the board's free to change your mind and move things around next year. And so really you're just approving the one.
Okay, well, and with an understanding that a budget is a spending guide, that there is nothing carved in stone in regard to this 57 million plus, that most of these expenditures that are capital expenditures will come to us for discussion and approval. And based on that, I'll make the motion to approve this budget.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Lentz. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Lenz,
Yes.
Nutchneg,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
and Kessler.
Yes.
So you have to vote.
Next motion is one to adopt an ordinance establishing rates and charges for water service and sanitary sewer service in the village. Also to reduce the minimum bill from 7 units of water, which is 700 cubic feet of water, to 600 units on the bills effective June 1st. And I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is by Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Voss. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. In 1 unit of water, in 100 cubic feet of water are 750 gallons. And the water and sewer rate combined totals $6.57 per unit. And that amounts to less than $1 per gallon, significantly less than $1 per gallon. For water that's tested on a daily basis, that every resident can be assured is highly potable, fit for human consumption. I think far more flavorful and healthful than anything you can buy in the store for $1.50 a gallon. And I suspect if any resident wants to think about saving money, think about using Mundelein water out of your tap. You can't beat it. If you think there's a little bit of chlorine flavor to it, just fill up a container, leave it open, put it in your refrigerator for 30 minutes, and there's no more chlorine flavor to it. It's the best bargain around, and you ought to take advantage of it. So with that, call the question.
I agree.
Okay, Sullivan,
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Fourth motion is a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with Kane McKenna. This in the amount of $22,000 for financial advisory services in regard to refunding 2005 general obligation bond issue. We are proposing to do this because we can hopefully significantly lower the interest rate and net over the life of the repayment of the bonds approximately $100,000, probably in excess of $100,000 in savings. And so this motion is to have this financial consultant represent us. The total cost, bond houses and legal opinions and all the things that comprise a refinancing process will be about $62,000. But this and it includes this $22,000. So I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is by Mr. Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Lentz, any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
And the final motion is one to pay AT&T for invoices totaling $9,221.81. This has been separated from our bill list because I believe this evening Trustee Meyer is not here. We probably won't have an abstention. So I'll make that motion.
Motion is by Sullivan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Meyer. Oh, I'm sorry. She's not here. Nutchneg.
Yes.
And Semple.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Semple.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've got a pair of motions this evening. The first motion I'd like to make is a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a 3-year contract dated May 15th, 2013 through May 14th, 2016, which is for 6 firefighter paramedic staff positions for the Village of Mundelein Fire Department with Metro Paramedic Services, 395 West Lake Street, Elmhurst, Illinois, seen as exhibit number PS-1 in your board packet this evening.
Okay, motion is by Trustee Semple. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Voss. Discussion on the motion. Clerk, call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, the second motion I'd like to make is a motion to authorize staff to draft a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Mundelein and the Mundelein Park and Recreation District, seen as Exhibit PS-2 in your board packets this evening. A copy of this a copy of the terms of this agreement were provided to all the village board members earlier last week. If there's any questions anybody has, we can address them.
Okay, motion is made by Mr. Semple. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nutchneg. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Nutchneg.
Yes.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, before I ask Chief Gunther and Sashko for their input this evening, I do want to say thank you to yourself, Trustee Nutchneg, and Clerk Dahlstrom for making my Monday nights somewhat enjoyable coming up here. It's been good serving with you, and best of luck in your personal and retired lives now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Gunther, anything from police?
No, nothing from police.
Sashko, anything from fire?
Just a couple reminder dates. This Saturday, we have our blood drive here at Station 1 from 9 to 3. So everybody sign up. Make sure we've got about 40 some odd people that are already signed up, so there's slots open. And then the following weekend, we have the Exchange Club pancake breakfast here from 8 until noon. And then simultaneously with that is a Salvation Army clothing drive. So that'll be held out in the front of the station. The pancake breakfast will be on the apparatus floor. and that'll be from 8 until noon. That's it.
And Chief, you've had a busy week this week. I'm assuming we'll get some sort of write-up on all the activities of the fire department
Yeah, it's been a crazy
and all the
weekend.
miles you've put on.
We fought a lot of fires out of town, thank goodness. They weren't in town, but yeah, it was a busy weekend. Some of it storm-related last week, and then over the weekend just was unrelated, so I'll have a report to the board shortly.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Community Development, Trustee Voss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a clarification. Last week, there was an article that was written in one of the local papers alleging that at our previous meeting, well, on our March 25th meeting, that we had made a substantive change to our zoning ordinance regarding driveways. And I just want to clarify that actually that information is not correct. We have, since 1987, had a policy that there's only one set of curb cuts allowed per house. We were just making sure that that was included in our current zoning ordinance. And for people who have more than one curb cut, circular driveway, 2 driveways, they're grandfathered in and they won't be required to remove a driveway. I'm not really clear on why there was that question about it, because certainly the board discussed that there would only be one set of curb cuts at our discussion about the zoning ordinance. So I just want to clarify that because I have talked to residents who were concerned about that. And if anybody has any questions, they can call, but it's clearly been since 1987. We've talked about it on this board with different variances several times. There's only one set of curb cuts allowed, and otherwise they're grandfathered in. And again, I just want to echo Trustee Semple and wish Esme and Mayor Kessler, Clerk Dahlstrom, I guess I should say, and Mayor Kessler and Trustee Nutchneg the best, and say it's been really great serving with you all, and it's been lovely being on a board that has a great sense of humor, not in small part, Mayor Kessler, to your leadership. And I have to say that Esme, I think that your job is the hardest of us all because you sit there night after night and don't get to weigh in. And I think that your tongue must have some big teeth bites in it by the end of the night sometimes. And so I really appreciate it. And Jim, as always, you've been a great seatmate. And for a lot of people think that you have a hard job since you sit in between Ed and I on the board. So no more bruising when you go home on Monday nights. Thank you all.
Thank you. Permits Committee, Trustee Nutchneg.
Yes, Mayor. Last report, I do not have one, so that makes it even more interesting. But I do have a meeting call for our next meeting on May 13th at 6:45 regarding Hickory Woods subdivision, Ryland Homes. It's a sign variation, and what I'm going to ask is that if that maybe Trustee Voss could take over that very first meeting since she's vice chair, being the new person, can pick up a few tips from maybe Trustee Voss for the very first meeting that we have here for permits. It would be not nice on our part to just throw someone under the wheels for the very first time or the very first meeting. So who's ever in charge of permits will just listen to Trustee Voss's dissertation, and she'll be a good teacher. But that is all. 6:45.
Okay.
On the 13th.
Thank you. Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Trustee Lentz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no motions here this evening, and Mr. Boucher, do you have anything on the transportation? And similarly, just kudos to Clerk Esme. Thank you very much for your patience with when we wanted to correct the minutes and going back. Mayor Kessler, I'm just listening to the list of accomplishments, just go on, and I hope at the end of my term or terms or whatever, that mine are similarly as long as yours. So congratulations.
Wish you the best.
Trustee Nutchnik, it's been a pleasure getting to know you more and more in this last campaign, and I've really enjoyed your deep perspective from going back years, just conversing about the issues and everything. I really appreciate your friendship. One thing I wanted to mention to the community going on, is there is at the Little League field, Mundelein Little League field at the community center in the back there, there's a groundbreaking occurring this Sunday at 3, and what they're going to do is they call it the overflow field, but recently a former president of Mundelein Little League, Mike Jones, passed away very unexpectedly and suddenly, and they raised quite a bit of money in his memory to construct, you heard of the Green Monster in Boston. Well, they're going to create a red monster in left field at the overflow field, a 16-foot high red chain link fence with the red slats and everything that is going to be quite an impressive structure, and it's going to really attract a lot of teams to come in from out of town and play there. The boys love to play on fields with such large structures like that you can hit the ball over or hit it against and everything. And so if you get out there, take a look. That project's just starting this Sunday at 3 with the groundbreaking. So that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Under other reports, we have some modifications to the Cardinal Square agreement. Mr. Norton is here this evening to help us with that. So this is the 4th amendment to the Cardinal Square Mundelein Downtown Properties LLC matter. Mr. Norton, do you want to begin by briefing us?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Kessler. Tonight, there's not going to be any action taken, no approval of ordinances or resolutions anyway. The board will be asked to direct staff through motions to prepare the final documents that relate to this 4th amendment. The 4th amendment to the redevelopment agreement governing Cardinal Square is really intended to be to incentivize the construction of another building at Cardinal Square, and this would be Building C, which is shown in the original master plan for Cardinal Square. I'll summarize the substance of this amendment. First thing it would do would be allow Building C to be a 5-story apartment building rather than a 4-story condominium building. Because this will be a apartment building and not a condominium, it will not be subjected to the condominium declaration that was approved when the original redevelopment agreement was approved by the village board. Instead, there will be a set of covenants recorded against the apartment building that will govern primarily, as far as the village is concerned anyway, the exterior appearance of the building and the uses of the exterior. For example, no satellite dishes on balconies, no hanging laundry out the windows and over balconies. So that will replace, for Building C, the condo declaration. Third item is, because this is going somewhat out of order, Building A was at the far north was the first building built. The original plan was to have buildings D1 and D2 directly south of that follow. That's not happening. We're going a little bit out of order. So the RDA originally had this pretty detailed phasing schedule for all the public improvements and what got built when. This is adjusting that schedule to recognize that Building C is now going before buildings D1 and D2. The redevelopment agreement, as originally prepared, provides an incentive to the developer to reimburse them for the construction of public improvements in the Cardinal Square project. And that reimbursement is done through TIF notes. That's still going to be the case, but we're going to tweak that a little bit in this 4th amendment with respect to 2 particular public improvements, and that is sewer improvements and water improvements. Those will be direct reimbursed to the developer by the village instead of being reimbursed through the TIF notes. And those will be capped the village's reimbursement to the developer will be capped at $123,000 for the sewer and $75,000 for the water. That's another incentive to the developer. As another incentive, if the developer commences construction on Building C by June 30th of 2014, the village would waive the impact fees applicable to that building, except for the sewer and water expansion fees, which will be $321,000. Those would be required to be paid by the developer upon issuance of the certificate of occupancy. And so if the developer meets those two criteria, makes the $321,000 payment, commences construction by June 30th of 2014, the village would waive the other impact fees. And then the final business point really is the TIF notes themselves. The original redevelopment agreement provided for two TIF notes. One is a $2.5 million note, and that's all for land acquisition. The other note was $4.5 million, and that's for other redevelopment project costs that are reimbursable under the TIF Act. Under the amendment, the village would combine those into one note. The total maximum principal would be the combination of those two, $7 million. But in recognition of some of the incentives that the village is providing to the developer, that $7 million would go down by the amount of the impact fees that are being waived, the direct reimbursement that the village is making to the developer for sewer and water improvements, and dollar for any other public improvement that the village paid for rather than the developer. So those two notes are being combined into one. As part of that, we're removing one of the barriers that was that's in the second Tier 2 note, and that's the $2.5 million note for land acquisition. The way that was originally written is the developer could submit amounts under that note to be certified only when it's sold, for every 30 condominium units that it's sold. Condominium units are not selling, and this is not going to be a condominium building, so we're removing that barrier from the TIF note. A couple of other changes in the notes. The interest rate is going down. The interest rate that the village is paying is going down from 8% to 6%. The increment, the portion of the tax increment that the village is pledging to repay the notes is going up from 34% to 40%. And that's the way it's currently in the agreement right now. But there are just two open issues, and this is one of them. The developer is currently negotiating for some number higher than 40%. So that's an open issue that we're going to try to get resolved in the next 3 weeks. The other open issue is what, if anything, do we do right now about the condominium association? The way the redevelopment agreement was written, and this seemed reasonable in 2005, that all of the property in Cardinal Square would be subjected to a single condominium association, all 9 buildings. We've got one building only now, and the second building that's being built is an apartment building. The developer's concern is that there are a couple of deadlines, one imposed by their lender and one imposed by state law as to when you can add property to a condominium association. It's unlikely, if not impossible, that they're going to be able to satisfy those requirements. One is a 7-year time period, and the other is a 10-year. And within 7 and 10 years from 2006, they're certainly not going to get all 9 buildings added to this condominium association. So the question is, what, if anything, do we do about that now? And there are really, I think, 3 alternatives. One is don't do anything right now with this amendment, because this isn't a condominium building, and wait till the next condominium building comes along. Second, allow each new condominium building to be its own association and write that into the 4th Amendment now. And third, require some kind of master association that would tie together all those individual condominium associations, one for each building. The latter one, I think, has its own potential issues because there will be time limits on how much property can be added to the master after it's created. So I know enough to tell you tonight that I don't know enough about this issue because it's come up towards the end of the negotiations to make a recommendation to you on which way to proceed. But that's the other open issue that we are going to look at, and I believe we'll be able to resolve that in the next 3 weeks. The final issue I wanted to point out to you is there are a number of motions on the agenda, and the only difference from the Plan Commission's recommendation is that the Plan Commission had recommended that there be covenants attached to the apartment building, and that is part of the amendment. There is not part of the amendment a requirement that the developer go out in 5 years and hire a marketing study to see if the building can go condo at that point. The developer would be free to do that if they choose to do so. This Fourth Amendment, the way it's written, does not compel them to do that. So that's a summary of the Fourth Amendment. As I say, we've got a little bit of work to do if you direct us to do that going forward, and we would be back here in 3 weeks with final documents.
Okay, questions for Mr.
Incentive that is divided in Tier 1 and earned Tier 2 is from bearing interest. None of the principal has take that. In fact, not all the interest is.
That's right.
Now, this draft of the Fourth Amendment talks about interest borne on the incentive at a non-compound rate. Does that mean that the interest is only applied once and that there is no interest earned on the interest?
That's correct. The interest that's not paid would carry over and be repaid, but we're not paying interest on interest.
And so the interest, whether it's 8% or 6%, is only applied to the initial incentive, 4.5 for Tier 1, and the earned amount being $8,000 on Tier 2.
Right.
Every year, it's that amount of interest on that principal. The principal's reduced, and the interest is applied to the reduced principal, but not on any earned interest.
That's correct. And the non-compounding was an element of the redevelopment agreement as originally negotiated and approved by the board, so that's not changing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Okay. Well, we have a number of things on the agenda here this evening. First is a motion to accept Plan Commission minutes and findings of fact. Make that motion.
Moved.
Second.
By Trustee Voss, second by Trustee Netchnig. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk, call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Netchnig.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Next is a motion to accept Plan Commission's recommendations.
Moved.
By Trustee Voss.
Second.
Second by Trustee Sullivan. Discussion. Clerk, call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Netchnig.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Now, Mr. Norton, any of the things that you were talking about, do they factor into any of these next three motions?
Mayor, I don't think so, as long as there's a general direction from the village board that we are to try to work out these final two issues.
Okay, so, and the direction would be just work them out, not necessarily do this versus that?
We'll come back with a recommendation,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, because you said that as you can learn more information, since this came up towards the end, that, that you would have possibly a more firm recommendation.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, finally, motion to authorize staff to draft a resolution authorizing the mayor's execution of the Fourth Amendment to the redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Mundelein and Mundelein Downtown Properties.
So moved?
Mr. Lentz is first, Trustee Voss is second on that. Any discussion? clerk call the roll?
Lentz,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Netchnig,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance approving an amendment to the Plan Unit Development, PUD, final plan for Cardinal Square.
So moved.
Second?
Netchnig makes the first, second by trustee Lentz. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Sullivan?
Mr. Norton had indicated a couple of the issues in this Fourth Amendment that were still being discussed. One was the percentage of increment that would go. Is it appropriate to discuss any type of consensus of the board? You understand that the original agreement was 34% of the increment, and that we are now considering 40%, and the developer wants more than that. So anybody thinks the developer should have more than 40%?
More than 40?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going from 34 to 40.
Originally, the increment was to be split 3 ways.
Right.
The village would get a third, the developer would get a third, and then there was a third, approximately a third, more than a third, 34%, that would go in reserve for schools and library. The library gets 2%. The schools have to earn that amount based on a per capita expense per student, up to 32% of the increment, I believe. And so, the total increment, we're now offering 40% instead of 34%. Does anyone think it should be more than that? And I guess, is anyone so concerned losing this project that they would offer more than 40%? I would not. I think this is more than generous. Understand the concessions that we are making besides this in regard to additional incentive, fee forgiveness. We're building some public improvements for the building. We're allowing this a rental building instead of an owner-occupied building. But Mr. Norton has to go, and Administrator Lebedo has to negotiate this. And I wonder if perhaps it would be good for them to understand that this is the board's position, that 40% is as much as we are going to provide.
Well, ours is going down to 27%. They're going up to 40. And then the portion that would go to the schools that doesn't, we get the rest of that, right? Okay.
The past is no guarantee of the future, but the past we have gotten the lion's share of the schools.
Right.
Amount that was unearned. But there's no, I mean, we can't negotiate this. The taxing bodies, our fellow
Right.
taxing bodies are going to get that. We can't negotiate that away from them. We have to provide it from ours.
And that's a that amount that you're talking about is for this unit, not necessarily the next unit, or it's for all units in perpetuity?
The latter, the pledge would
Right.
apply to the rest of the development,
Right.
the increased pledge.
And how about the concessions? Do those apply to this unit, or?
Building C only, on
Only
the
C,
fees,
okay.
on the impact
So I think
fees.
that's a better,
You-
you hold the reimbursement at some, maybe 40 is the right number, or something a little better than what we have, but then you can adjust individual concessions as you go along, rather than say, okay, 50-50 or whatever it is.
Well, I think we'd save some time and expense. And I think the developer would be happy to understand where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the overall picture of everything going on, I think the overall project is very important, and I think for my money, it'd be worth it to incentivize this particular building more than, say, the next one when the market's better, climate is better.
Well, we may well have to incentivize future buildings, but whatever incentive is provided comes off of the original incentive. That is, the maximum was $7 million. This little short of 600,000 that we're providing here is coming off of that,
right.
And anything in the future, according to this amendment, and not the first draft of the agreement, but this fourth amendment provides that any future incentive will also be coming off of that initial incentive.
If the village were to pay for public improvements in the future, that would come off as $7 million, yeah.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay,
Where are we?
that's it.
Yeah.
40%.
On which item? C? D. Okay. Any other comments on D? Call the roll.
Nutchneg,
Yes.
Lenz,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, finally, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance canceling the current Tier 1 TIF note and Tier 2 TIF note, approving a combined TIF note.
So moved.
Second.
Sullivan, second by Nutchneg. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Nutchneg,
Yes.
Lenz,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you,
All
Mr.
right,
Norton.
thank you all.
See you in a few weeks.
Yes.
Okay, omnibus items. We have 3. Is there anything that needs to be removed? Motion to approve all the omnibus items
So moved.
Second.
by trustee Voss, second by trustee Nutchneg. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just
Yeah, remove it at least.
in regard to item C, there's some bills, and I offer a candy bar. Anybody can tell me. Provent, Chief Sashko?
Plimavent? Yeah, the Plimavent system is the exhaust extraction system we have in both stations.
What do they
on the
do?
up- It's the exhaust extraction system. So those are the yellow hoses that are connected
Exhaust.
for the diesel exhaust. There's a maintenance on that annually.
You owe him a candy bar then, don't you?
Well,
I like
he-
Snickers.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay, any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Voss,
Yes.
Nutchneg,
Yes.
Lenz,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. Those are approved. Mr. Lebedo?
I have no report tonight, Mr. Mayor, other than I just want to thank Doug for his work on this year's budget. It was a different format. I think it was a format that's far more user-friendly, shall we say. And I know that the department heads have worked really hard on that, and so I want to thank them for all their help on putting that budget together. I think it's a good budget that does a lot for the community. There's new programs in there, and there's a lot of capital spending. I think if I remember right, it was probably somewhere between $18 and $20 million of capital expenditures, which is good. And so I just really want to publicly acknowledge all the department heads and their support staff on helping me put that together, number one. Number two, I want to thank Mayor Kessler for all of his years and his guidance. And there's been a lot of interesting twists and turns over the last 8 years, and I've enjoyed most of those. But I truly appreciate your candor and your vision for the community and your clear direction, and that's always helpful. And trustee Nutchneg, too, I've enjoyed all the years that we've worked together, and I wish you the best of luck going forward. And Esme, there really wasn't that many questions, and but I've enjoyed working with you. You know, as a clerk, as a village clerk, you're almost a staff member because you're there all the time, and certainly I affectionately called her the signature Nazi because she would not take things out of order. She was just so dogmatic about not doing things out of order, and I was always in a rush to get things done quicker, and because there was 10 things that needed to get done, and Esme forced me to slow down and do things properly, and I know that in the long run that avoids unnecessary mistakes, and so I appreciate that, Esme. Everybody needs somebody around them to tell them to slow down, and so that was helpful. So thank you very much.
Marino?
Dahlstrom and Trustee Nutschneg. It's been my joy to work with the three of you for 8 years, the mayor for 22 years with Jim. Quite clearly, each of you has had the best interests of the village at heart and everything that you have done. And that makes my job easy. Thank you.
Thank you. I asked Charlie at the beginning of the meeting, because I knew it was at least 4, but he told me it was, to date, he's worked with 5 mayors of the village. Mayor Boss, Mayor Knoll, McCrae, Sindels, and now me. So then in a few weeks, he'll have 6. So not too many corporate councils can brag about that, I guess.
Some national record.
It very well could be.
No, Jack Siegel has the record, yeah.
Y'all do keep track, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure to work with you, and always know that we have very, very competent advice. Clerk?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. 14 days after the election date, Lake County Clerk's Office validates and counts the provisional and absentee ballots. This will be ended tomorrow, so the 25th, they will have the final canvass of the votes, and the report of the abstracted votes will be available at that date. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes. So we've concluded almost everything on the agenda this evening other than an executive session. We have the room across the way open, and people who are not part of the executive session are invited to hang out over there. And then when we come back, we will entertain one motion, and then we have a little bit of coffee and some desserts. Take a little bit of time after the full meeting's adjourned, and we can visit together this evening. So this evening, for the executive session, we will need Charlie and Doug. Probably not. Okay. So it'll just be Charlie, and everyone else will wait across the hall for us, please. Can we have a motion to recess into executive session to discuss personnel? First, 125 LCS 120, 2C1.
I'll make the motion.
Moved or second?
Sullivan, second by Nutschneg. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Nutschneg?
Yes.
Lentz?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Yes.
Yes. Here?
Here. moved.
Sure.
Yes.
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 Yes. So moved.
Second?
Aye.